Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of In the Kitchen. We've taken an 8 to 10 week vacation. We don't know, it's been a long time. I finally got the gang back together. We're here to bring you some more content of the latest things happening in sports. In sports, I mean F1, basketball, and football. Professional level. So, Taylor, say hi.
Hi. It's been a while, peeps. Like you said, it's 8 weeks or so, something like that. It's been ridiculous. Just like F1's been a little ridiculous.
So with that being said, there is plenty to talk about. F1 finally has crowned their next champion already. He's going to get to that a little bit. There is a lot of things going on in the NBA. The West is crazier than ever. We have NFL talk, some of same old, some surprising runs, and here we go. Let's do it. We're gonna start off with Taylor here. What do we got?
So as you said, F1 just crowned their champion, Michael Hamilton. My man.
As expected by many, or am I wrong to say that?
I would say without being biased or trying not to sound as biased as possible. Yeah, I think a lot of people saw it coming.
Yeah, especially you.
with that, the F1 season's over, unfortunately. I already want the next season to come back. But Hamilton won by basically a landslide, 408 to Vettel's 320. It's pretty bad. That's 88 points. Yeah, that's several races. Several races. Earlier this year, Raikkonen won his first F1 race in almost 5.5 years.
You know what I think killed Vettel for sure? That one race where he and his partner just dropped in the first lap, or the first 5 laps. What was that one race?
That was earlier in the season.
Yeah, it was very early in the season.
I couldn't say.
Do you think that had a big deal with the final? You think that had a big impact on what he ended up with?
I don't think that one particular race, no. So Vettel made plenty of mistakes throughout the year. Like early in the season, that just kind of snowballed in. DMFing, I think, out of 1 or 2 races, which is, basically crashing or having to retire from the race in some way. And just crashes and near crashes and fender benders and stuff like that were very detrimental to his early stuff. But like I was saying, Raikkonen wins his first F1 race here in Austin at the US Grand Prix for the first time in 5.5 years. How cool is that?
My wife was there actually, but she went to the Bruno Mars and Britney Spears.
That was afterwards.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But that's cool, man. 5.5 years without a win, and he finally wins here in the States, in Austin. Like, that was awesome. Just to wrap up on F1, F1's nuts right now. There's a lot of driver switching going on. But just to hit some of the highlights that I just thought was interesting is Vettel is now, for next year, this is all for next year, Vettel is now going to be with Leclerc, the hot rookie from Ferrari training that's racing with Sauber, I believe. And then Max Verstappen is going to be with Gasly, the rookie over in Toro Rosso. And then Kimi, surprise, surprise, if you haven't heard already, spoiler alert, Kimi's moving over to Sauber, and he's going to be racing with Ericsson. The reason why I find that so cool is that you've got 3 very talented, 2 of which very seasoned drivers racing with a lot of new hot blood.
So what do you expect?
So it's going to be very veteran with hot blood teammates for next year, which I think is going to be an interesting dynamic.
What do you expect next season different from this season? Well, with talking about all those changes that are happening, all the drivers.
I think we're gonna see drivers
retiring and all that stuff.
I think we're gonna see a lot more teams that run in the middle of the pack or the lower top 5. Like, I have strong hopes for Ricardo or Renault, for example.
So maybe it'll be somebody else
I think it'll give more of an opportunity for the people that we see coasting in the lower 5, 4th, 5th, in the middle of the pack, being able to hopefully, and I think, improve or come up a little bit more in the spotlight and make the roster a little bit more competitive, instead of always seeing race after race after race after race top 3, Ferrari, Red Bull, and Mercedes in some shape, form, or fashion. Cool. I think we'll actually be able to see from race to race a little bit more mix up in that regards. I still think, of course, Ferrari and Mercedes are going to be up in those top 3, their top 3 race team, or you could argue they're number 1 race team with Hamilton's win now. So you're probably going to see them consistently up there. With Ferrari and all these other guys, I think it opens up a lot more dynamic for like 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th. So yeah, I think it's going to bring a lot more movement up and down the roster.
Well, sounds like a
balance out the talent, I think, to more to other teams. So basketball's been heating up pretty good too. I've been kind of keeping up with scores and things like that, and catching a game here nor there, kind of half of this one, a quarter of that one.
No, I mean there's way too many, and it's still early in the season.
So what's happening over with the Spurs? What's up over there in San Antonio, man? Tell me about the Spurs.
You don't gotta ask like they're dead or something.
No.
The Spurs are still alive, man.
Oh yeah, they're very much alive.
There's no Let me tell you what's going on with the Spurs. What's going on with the Spurs is this is a brand new team. It's a team the Spurs have never ever been in this position before. Not even last year. Last year they were without the star player, Kawhi Leonard at the time, which is now basting it up in Toronto, but we'll get to that. The Spurs have never ever been in this position before. And what position is that? And that's that there's only LaMarcus Aldridge that's been there a few years, that's returning. Let me give you 5 names. LaMarcus Aldridge, Patty Mills, Paul Gasol, Rudy Gay, Dejounte Murray. I think those are 5 names. Yes.
Yep.
They're the only guys returning from the Spurs that are capable to be in the starting lineup for the Spurs. They're the only guys returning that people might recognize their name for the Spurs. Now, Drew Ebanks, Chimizai Metu. I'm sorry, I'm not making fun of those names, but this is what the Spurs are dealing with. All these new names, all these guys, all these new faces. This is from the bench to some of these guys are in the starting lineup. Quincy Pondexter. That's he's known in the NBA, but it's like, come on, And then the only other name that does give us a little hope is DeMar DeRozan. But it's just, that's the thing. They're all new faces. This is a new team. Back then, it was always Tim Duncan, Manu, and Tony. These guys always set the tone. They always set the pace for everybody else just to fall in line. Greg Popovich has never been without Tim Duncan. And since then, yeah, he does have an he does have a Western Conference appearance, finals appearance without Timmy, but that was with Kawhi when he was healthy. And Kawhi was, we'll get to him in a bit, but Kawhi is a monster, you know what I'm saying? Like, of course you get to the Western Conference finals with Popovich and a player like that combination is great. What's going on with the Spurs? This is a new team. They need time to develop. The Miami Heat were at 540 games in LeBron's first year, and they still went to the finals. Now, I'm not saying the Spurs are going to the finals because it's a tough tough West, and the West is crazy. It's crazy. Like the Nuggets guys are in first place right now. The Nuggets, they're in first place right now.
Shocked me too.
Respect to the Nuggets. You know what I'm saying? Because they ball and they're balling. Like this guy catches a few games. I haven't seen him play all year because I'm like, the Nuggets are really the Nuggets. But hey, Clippers are right there. OKC's right there. Golden State ain't going anywhere. But it's a brand new team. They take time to develop. Will they be a playoff team? Yes, they will be. Yes, they will be.
I think they could. I think they could. They'll make it to the playoffs.
They have 2 All-Stars on the roster. There's no way they're not a playoff team. DeRozan just has to adjust. Obviously, LaMarcus Aldridge still has some stuff to work out because he's had LaMarcus Aldridge had a different team each year. You know, his first year was with Timmy Duncan, Tony Parker, still getting big minutes, Kawhi, Danny Green. You know, that was your team. You know, and in 2017 it was okay. We lose Tim Duncan. Tony Parker gets, is hurt for the majority of the season, so you're dealing with Kawhi, you, and, everybody else who fills in. And then there's last season where it's just you, LaMarcus. It's just you. And Kawhi's out, man. He came for 9 games and went 5-4 those 9 games, and he's out. He's out. Like, he's like, I'll do this. Excuse me. I'm not playing anymore. I'm going to take this time to, Kawhi said, I'm going to take this time to rest and make sure I'm good for next season. Why? Because next season is my contract year. Kudos to you, Kawhi. I was mad at you earlier, but I'm not mad anymore because, we'll get to Kawhi. This is a new LaMarcus, and then now this year for LaMarcus Aldridge, you have DeMar DeRozan in there, and I just finished naming all these guys. It's a new team. It's a brand new team. The Spurs have never been in this situation before, and I wouldn't hit the panic button yet because we have the greatest coach in basketball right now, arguably, in the century or all time. So I feel confident, that they'll make playoffs.
I feel confident they'll make the finals too.
Mm-hmm.
So you've been
not
hinting,
finals, playoffs.
Sorry.
Playoffs. Yeah. But
you've been talking about Kawhi, and he's playing with what team now? Oh wait, the Raptors.
Yes. Kawhi Leonard is tearing it up in Toronto, and I just want to say this, Kawhi. I'm not upset anymore. I'm comfortable with my team, Spurs, and mainly because Kawhi, you're just proving me right. I've always said all along, Kawhi Leonard is the best player in this league, and look at what he's got. He's got a brand new team. People he's never played with before, except, he does have Danny Green and one of the coaches that was on the Toronto staff that was with him for his tenure with the Spurs, so he has that. But this is what I'm saying. Everybody else, brand new country, and there's no excuses there. Just all the excuses I made for the Spurs, there's none of that for the Raptors. That's how good Kawhi Leonard is. That's how good I've been saying he has been, and everybody who knows basketball knows.
Stays healthy.
Look, one season of this guy sitting out, and people want to question his, health. His health. This guy has played through I don't know what it was on his leg. Look it up. Do your own research. Take my word for it if you want. I don't know what it was with his leg through those finals in 2013 and 14, 4 years ago. And took the team, was a big part of that defense. Of course, you still had, all that combination of the Hall of Famers, the trio, most winning trio of all time, with Timmy, Manu, and Tony. But the Kawhi Leonard has played through injury before, which is why he was sick and tired of the Spurs saying you're fine when he didn't feel fine. So he took a year off, took a break, and now, he looks fine. He's still putting up big numbers, just as he was, back in 2017, his first, pretty much his breakout solo season without a Timmy. Manu's on the bench, Tony's on the bench. It's Kawhi. he's got LaMarcus and he's got Popovich. But he's got Lowry here. He's got numerous role players, and they're taking this league by storm. They just beat the Philadelphia 76ers tonight by double digits. They dominated. They're 21-5 the first 26 games. I think
I know
easy
for the first. I know
for
for
the
the
finals,
first
yeah.
for the first few games and everything. I think the Toronto got up to. I think at one time I saw 9 or 10-0, and I was like, "Can anybody stop them?" Like,
I mean,
are these people like? Are we gonna see an undefeated NBA team? Like,
oh no, they're not that. But I do think they're gonna lose about 15 games this season at the pace they are. Like, if you lose 5 games for every 25 games, there's only 82 games.
Yeah.
So let's jump over. That's enough basketball talk, which is really exciting. Which has never been this exciting this early in the season, but. And the reason because of football, and here we go. We're gonna go with the NFL next. So a couple weeks ago we were talking about not a couple weeks ago. The last time we were on,
about the Pats.
The last time we were on the show, we were kind of saying like, we're the Pats. They were 1-2. They were 2-2. It's like the Texans are 0-3. Since then, both teams are 9-3.
Yeah.
Texans are on a 9-game win streak.
Yeah, when you told me that, I was like, wait, what? I didn't even realize that. Like, huh?
Let's touch on the.
How are they?
On the Texans first. So, with that, have you been watching any Texans games?
I caught the one with Dallas, and I caught I think their first game and I think like their third game, something like that. I've seen like 3 Texans games.
How strong of a chance do you think they have of getting the number 1 seed in the AFC? They're 1 game behind first place.
Who's above them right now?
Chiefs.
Chiefs are tough.
10-2 Chiefs, 9-3. 9-3 Texans.
Yeah, so I think they might have a chance if they keep up this crazy thing they've got going on right now. If they keep that up, I see a strong possibility of it. But at the same time, the Chiefs would probably have to screw up 1 or 2 more times.
Well, definitely 2 more times. I don't know what the Chiefs' schedule looks like, but the Texans have. What do they have coming up? I think they have the Eagles coming up, so that's at least 1 more win for them. That's a diss towards the Eagles. I don't think they're gonna get it because of the Patriots. They have one of the easiest schedules, mainly because they got the Bills and the Dolphins. Even if you don't know football, you know that those are easy wins. Yeah. Especially when you're the Patriots. Patriots did have a scare though for a moment against the Dolphins, and then they ended up blowing them out early in the season.
That they did, and we made comment on the Pats again, like, oh, they're sucking right now.
Oh no, yeah, no.
But now it's like, wait.
It's same old with them, man. It's like they get the wins they're supposed to get. They lose a couple games. They still get the 1 or 2 seed. Tom Brady gets a bye for the wild card. Rarely plays a wild card game because they play in the weakest division ever since 2000. That is a fact. Come on, Miami.
Yeah.
The Bills. That's basically minimum 3-1 right there. And then I forget who that other team is. Like, exactly.
So
what's that other team?
Pats are now back on top, or right there, and
Pats
tied with the Texans.
They have the same record as the Texans, as the Chargers, but there's a 10-2 team in the Chiefs. But guess what? The Patriots already beat them.
Sure.
So they hold that tiebreaker. So it's like the Texans literally have to get 1 more game above both teams for them to get the number 1 seed.
Yeah.
But I like what Deshaun Watson is doing. I love what that defense is doing. I saw them play against the Cowboys. It was a close game. Could have gone either way. Both offenses sucked that game, but both defenses did amazing that game. And, all that really happened that game is, what's his name? I'm sorry, but that number 1 receiver for the Texans made one awesome play. And that's it. And it was in overtime. That was the game. One awesome play is what lost the Cowboys that game. Point is, Deshaun Watson is a turnover machine. He fumbles, he throws interceptions, but that defense bails them out so many times. That's one of the best defenses, and this is how I feel. I feel the Cowboys and Texans, if we ever see, we need to see them play again. I know it was a boring game. Of course, I know it was a boring game, but if we see them play again, that's Super Bowl.
We won't see them play again for another 4 years.
Unless they make the Super Bowl this year.
Yeah.
I know y'all may be laughing, but they have the first and the second longest active winning streaks in the NFL right now, and I got that from ESPN. The Texans have a chance. They're only 1 game behind first place. They have a chance, but I don't think they get it because of the Patriots and their easy schedule. Not because they're not better than these guys, but because I feel the Patriots have an easier schedule than the Texans.
And then going on to our favorite Texas team, the recent game that just was last week, this past Sunday actually. Dallas and Saints, totally an upset. Am I right?
The biggest upset so far this season, I think.
Pretty big, yeah. I think, I could probably agree with that. Yeah, I can't think of another, clearly dominant, clearly dominant team losing to an underdog.
No, I can think of one, that might happen. It's Miami beating New England this weekend, but that's not gonna happen. But I'm gonna tell you why it was the biggest upset, because Drew Brees is having one of the best seasons of his entire career. But he's had many seasons like this before.
They were on a 10 win?
Yes, they were on a 10-game win streak. And that defense was it kept the Eagles to 7 points. It kept the Redskins to 13, and the Giants, they're a joke. And the defense kept the Cowboys to only 13 points. But guess what? The Saints defense kept the Cowboys offense to 13 points, but the Cowboys defense kept the Saints offense to only 10. What does that tell you about the Cowboys defense? Let me get to their defense now. Their defense, I think in my books, from what I see,
you said best red zone.
I think they got the best red zone defense in the league, man. Every time I look up, it's like they're in the red zone. No touchdown. There is no touchdown going through them. They score touchdowns on 40-yard bombs and here and there. They've lost 5 games for a reason, but it's not because of the red zone play. They've given up a little touchdowns in the red zone, but man, this last 4 games against the Saints, boom, pound them on 4th down, stop them on 3rd down, stop them on 3rd down again, stop them on the 4th down try, for the touchdown. Now, you have to give them props for the Saints. And the Eagles is never an easy game, and they're the defending champs. You have to give them props for that win too. And the defense did their job. And you have to give them props for what they did against them in Atlanta. What the defense did against Matt Ryan, Julio Jones, and Mohamed Sanu. I'm sorry, I think that's his name. You have to give that defense props. In this 4-game win streak, I'm not counting the Redskins, because a lot of y'all don't count the Redskins either, because they lost Alex Smith, their offense wasn't as efficient, or they're not as explosive, and I get it. But then again, when they did have Alex Smith, they only scored 19 points against that defense. offense now, the difference between then and now is, oh no, they did have Amari Cooper, I think, that game, but we got Amari Cooper again and we won that second game. The Cowboys won that second game, but that red zone defense, they just stuff teams. They keep them to field goals. You know, if they go for it on fourth down, they stop them. The defense is clutch. The defense is a big part of the reason why they're on this 4-game win streak, because that offense is still struggling, but it did get a little more spread out, and the ball started moving a little more once Amari did come into the team, though. What are your thoughts?
I think you're exactly right. I think, and that's without Sean Lee. It's without Sean Lee. You know, and these it was the Saints game. What has it been, like 2 or 3 games?
No, these 4 games.
4 games out with Lee,
and we're 4-0. They're 4-0.
Yeah, and so I see it. I agree. Their red zone defense. I haven't seen a whole lot of red zone plays make it. I mean, sure, there's been some, but you're right. Their red zone is good, and it's even good without Sean Lee. And which is surprising, because every time somebody mentions Sean Lee, I just kind of sad face a little bit, because I'm just like, he's a great player. I know every time he's on the defense, he makes crap happen. But I don't care how good of an athlete you are, if you don't stay healthy, it's tough. It's just tough. I mean, how many times has the dude injured his hamstring? Weight. Yeah.
You're dead weight. I mean,
so
you're dead
weight. I give it to Dallas's defense that they are doing so well in the red zone without their defensive captain, and that Dallas has figured out a formula with these other 2 guys that are on the bench behind Lee, and cycling them out. And seeing how well they're doing, I think when Sean Lee does come back, I agree with you on that it's going to be like a 3-way cycle. You're going to see these guys switching off, switching in, switching out, all that stuff. And it's going to keep Sean Lee healthy in the long run. And it's going to be enough to keep Sean Lee impactful. Mm-hmm. And I think that that's going to be a recipe for continued success for Dallas.
On one last note, the Cowboys have been without Travis Frederick, their starting right tackle.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, he's one of their linemen. Sorry. They've been without him all season long, sure. And they've been without Tyron Smith, their starting left tackle. Travis Frederick is the right guard. Their left tackle, Tyron Smith, he's been out the last 2 games, and he was out against the Saints. And the Cowboys still found a way to win.
We're still finding a way to win. And I'm going to cap it with this. And just to speak briefly a little bit about Ezekiel Elliott. And one thing that keeps nerving me every time I watch a Dallas game is, for the love of Christ, Dallas, please take a little bit of risk on your 3rd and 4th down conversions. Because I find myself time and time again screaming at the television because you have a running back in Ezekiel Elliott that I think his average yards per run is getting 3 or 4 yards now or something.
I think it's a little more than that.
It's awesome. Every time you give the guy in his hand the ball in his hands,
he gets yards.
Yeah. So why am I seeing you on 4th and 1 or 4th and 2 when you're on the 50-yard line or you're in their territory?
Not go for it.
And not just give the ball to Ezekiel Elliott. He's gonna get the first. It
does have been mistakes that cost the Cowboys games the first half of the season, but they've been 4-0 since.
I'm just talking numbers here, and that's an average. I get that, but I'm just I see so many of those that I'm just they could have gone for it. They could have gone for it. It would have been fine. You would have kept the ball, and they might have freaking scored. Instead of missing a freaking field goal that cost you the game. Yeah. So with that, guys, we're gonna call it. Thanks for watching and all that good stuff and keeping up with us. I know it's been a little while. Be sure you like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff here on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook at Red Twit Entertainment. And be sure to check out our Twitter, and that handle is @1in_th3_kitchen. And hopefully we'll see you next time. a little sooner.
Yep, that does it for us here. Don't forget to check out our other content. We have a great 48-hour project that we just did. We don't know when exactly it's going to go up on our page, but it won a lot of awards for Red Twit Entertainment.
It's going to Filmapalooza.
It won Best Film. It's going to what?
Filmapalooza.
Filmapalooza, and that's located
down in Orlando.
Down in Orlando, Florida. So don't forget to check that out whenever it gets to this page. Thanks, guys.
Might be a while. Thanks. See you next time.